they kept extending the statute of limitations from late 1999 to 2000. That's how it got up to 23,500. But in a nation that was flush with cash, in the era of the dot-com boom, in a pre- and post-9/11 era, and a pre-Tea Party era, nobody cared about $1.5 billion, especially when these things were getting buried in war funding bills. Pigford is over, 23,500. Nobody paid attention to it except for the FBI, and we have FBI affidavits and FBI whistleblowers who want to testify before Congress to talk about how they knew about the fraud, that they knew that they were going church to church, that they knew that they were selling it as reparations, and they were using it for the Democratic Party in order to buy rural black votes. They were calling it reparations at reparations conventions, called the Dorothy Tillman Reparations Convention, the N Cobra Conventions. So it's the year 2007, and the head of the National Black Farmers Association, John Boyd, perhaps you've seen him on CNN calling Congressman Steve King a racist for using the term reparations. On CNN, he called Steve King a racist. It is the tool that the left uses in order to stop people from inquiring into a scandal of this proportion. This vindicates Steve King is not a racist. We have oodles of information in their own words, in Lexis, in documentary footage, in undercover footage, and from black farmers who lost their land and who I talk to every single day, who did not ever get their justice and reject that in their name reparations has occurred while they lost their land. You talk to the black farmers, they're pissed off that their neighbors who work as mechanics or who work as policemen are getting $50,000 checks and they got screwed over. So Barack Obama in the year 2007 is invited by John Boyd, the head of the National Black Farmers Association, to open up Pigford, to extend the statute of limitations. The Congressional Black Caucus writes the bill. They've extended the statute of limitations before, so now they want to extend it again. Pigford's over, 23,500. We're talking about 4,500 more than there are black farmers in the country. How many late filers did Barack Obama become the sole Senate sponsor in the year 2007 of trying to extend the statute of limitations? 72,000 late filers, which makes it 94,000 people getting in line to get $50,000 checks. The numbers don't add up. They're scared senseless because they got caught red-handed. It's why Shirley Sherrod got fired, because she was sent to make the most amount of money in the history of Pigford. $13 million for their defunct communal, but I would say communist farm. They were basically socialist radicals. They had a farm that went under in 1985. They reconstituted that farm and sued the government for $80 million in 1997 and lost. They re-entered the same complaint in essence through Pigford and got $13 million for New Communities Inc. and $300,000 between them for pain and suffering. Who is Shirley Sherrod as relates to this? Is she peripheral or is she central? I think she's somewhere in between. Think about this. She worked for two entities since 1985, Farmers Legal Action Group and the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. What are those two organizations? If you were a black farmer like Jimmy DeSmute, or Eddie Slaughter, or Jimmy Head, or Abraham Carpenter, or Cecil Brewington, the guys that I talk to almost every day or at least every week for months and months on end, Shirley Sherrod was the person that the black farmers would go to say, Pigford has screwed us over. But Shirley Sherrod is one of the only farmers to have gotten money, and the most amount of money in the history of the Pigford settlement. They put her in the Pigford Monitor, which worked with the judge, which audited the Pigford settlement. She had right in front of her the raw numbers that the black farmers were losing their land, yet everybody who never farmed, the attempted to farmers, were getting $50,000 checks. So if you went to Farmers Legal Action Group or Shirley Sherrod or the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, they were party to this scam. You do the math on whether or not she's a good lady. You talk to the black farmers. They say that they never gave us justice. They know it's reparations, and they know that they're the needle in the haystack of Pigford. They've been trying to talk to ABC, CBS, NBC. They've been going to the Justice Department. They've been going to their own congressmen. And if you've been paying attention to this on big government, you'll see that 6 of these black farmers went to Congressman Sanford Bishop to say we need to investigate the fraud in Pigford and to help the black farmers. And Sanford Bishop said, if we investigate Pigford, then the money is going to stop flowing. That's what the black farmers said on video. Sanford Bishop could have ignored it. He ran to his local papers, the Albany Herald, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and the Columbus paper, in which he stated to the first paper is, what I knew about the fraud, but what am I supposed to do about it? Well, first of all, he's on the Agriculture Committee. He has oversight on the issue. Secondly, he was the co-author of the extension of the statute of limitations that brought this to 92,500. The black farmers hate the Congressional Black Caucus because they were the ones that benefited the greatest, because they had constituents with the narrative that they gave out $50,000 checks to as many people as humanly possible. They screwed over the black farmers. So to all conservatives out there who are fearful of touching race and being called a racist, it is the Congressional Black Caucus who were the perpetrators of black-on-black crime. That's what the black farmers describe it as such. And if there are congressional hearings, if the conservative movement ever gets the strength and the politicians get the strength, you will be able to prove this stuff beyond a reasonable doubt. We have more USDA whistleblowers who will only testify if they're given congressional protections. We have a busload or 2 or 3 of black farmers who all tell the exact same horrifying story to me every single day. And we now have behind the scenes all of the players scurrying. And we've been told that one of the undersecretaries of the Secretary of Agriculture went down to Arkansas. His name is Pearlie Reed, and he told a group of people with a heavy heart, Pigford 1 is now under review, and anyone in Pigford 2, that's 72,000, that tries to get their $50,000 check that shouldn't be getting it will be put in the penitentiary. The story has already broken. They're already trying to put pieces of gum in the dam as it's leaking. The only thing that is missing is the blogosphere, the mainstream media. The second that that breaks, Congress will have the courage to investigate this, and I believe it will go to the highest offices of the land. Barack Obama didn't just singularly, as a senator, sponsor the legislation that took it from 22,000 black farmers, laughable at that, to 94,000, absurd, while the black farmers got screwed over. He also intimidated a witness, and we can show you the letter from Barack Obama, the senator, to Mike Johans, the Agriculture Department, head of the Agriculture Department under Bush. Her name was Kim DePasquale. She worked in the Fredericksburg, Virginia Farm Service Agency Loan Office. And she raised the specter that if Pigford was extended, that it would be awful. He found out about that. That was a whistleblower saying, hey, we've got a problem here. And she quoted her African-American boss who said that it would be awful. They knew it was awful because they knew that this was fraud. And Barack Obama could not afford, because he had invested in Pigford, that it would be exposed, because he had zero legislative track record. But why was he the sole sponsor of Congressional Black Caucus crafted legislation in an election year? I'll end it on this note. This isn't my